I've said many times on this show that you should trust nothing and verify everything. Now, that's particularly true of what you see on the internet or you actually hear from politicians and the mainstream media services, people like Keith Pitt excluded, because he's straight with us all. But that's become even more important as artificial intelligence is becoming more advanced, making it just about impossible to work out if what you're seeing and hearing is actually true. Now, one chap who knows a lot about this is the media and communications expert and advisor, Hamish McLachlan-Lester. Before I get to him, though, have a quick look at this.
I may be 80 years old and I may have a few drops of dementia here and there, but I'm sharper than a steel blade and vibrant enough to outsmart the best tech geniuses around. Look, I was the one who helped pass Obamacare and the assault weapons ban, and I'm not going to let anyone question my intelligence or clarity of judgment.
That's incredible. What we saw there was entirely fabricated, Hamish, and yet it rang true for many people. How hard is it to do this sort of deepfake video?
Look, just quickly, thank you for having me on. And in terms of that video, it's not only that it's just a deep fake, it is a real-time deep fake that is responding to a question.
So the broader context was there was a person interviewing 3 deepfake videos and they were responding in real time, and that was one of the things. So it doesn't have to be pre-programmed or pre-created or pre-recorded. You can actually create a virtual Joe Biden and make it say anything you want.
Exactly. Now, to do that level of it is obviously harder, and it's not an out-of-the-box method, so you're going to have to learn how to code or use some other coding AIs. But there are out-of-the-box ones that you can use to just replicate your face and have it talk.
And it will make up the words itself, so based on a pattern of speech and move your lips accordingly.
Exactly.
So what does that mean for people when they're looking at information on the internet, or they're listening to a politician or something that's gone viral through one of the social media services? How can they rely on the authenticity of what they're seeing?
Well, look, you can't. And that's the biggest thing, right, is how are these platforms going to transition into having reliable sources? And what they're moving towards now is verification. So you can see that with what Elon did on Twitter and having the blue tick that you pay for, as opposed to it just being about people of notoriety. And Facebook and Meta, Instagram has brought that out now as a subscription model to be verified. And I think it's bigger for content creators more than just consumers of social media.
So it wasn't, I just thought it was a money grab, to be honest. They're all trying to prop up their balance sheets. But there is, I guess, a reasonable standard that they want to uphold to say you can rely on this person because they've created this content for themselves. Because the reality is that you've shown me technology where you could create a virtual Cory Bernardi, you could create an entire show around me not even being there, not even feeding the content, no pre-written content. It would just be based on the news of the day and what people perceive my views to be.
Exactly. That's what's possible. Now, to do that easily, it still is hard, but give it one more year and all this will be really like off the box, you know, like your Apple product version of it will be out and available for people.
I'm
but
sure,
it's not all bad.
I'm sure there's some benefits to it, right? But let's just focus on the potential for harm here, because I'm cynical enough, I've been around too long to realise that all these technological breakthroughs aren't misused by someone. And I see it as a tool of giant propaganda, because I'm going to presume the best people at this would be the tech firms, those who have access to the tech firms like government. We can't rely on what governments tell us. We've seen that with the Ukraine war. Both sides will mount that their version is accurate. The US will say another thing. Have we seen this misused for propaganda purposes so far?
I can't be 100% sure, but in terms...
That's how good they are.
Yeah, well, that's how good they are, right? But if it's more like, because you have these troll farms in China, Russia, probably the US as well. So it's more of a, if it hasn't been done, it's a matter of time that it will be done. And it's just about the time, the right time to deploy it.
Okay, now we've also heard about things like ChatGPT, which has been created for university students to cheat on their exams. Not really, but that's what it's being used for a lot. There are other sorts of systems out there, aren't there, that people can access just off the cuff. What sort of technology are we talking about?
Look, it's actually really cool. So you can put in some words, say you want to make a presentation about a particular topic, and then it will generate a whole presentation around that topic. So if you're doing a business meeting or whatever, you can generate that in a matter of like 30 minutes, an hour, and edit it. But then there's also things like Midjourney and DALL-E 2, where you can prompt it to say, I want a Van Gogh style painting of Corey Bernardi. And it can make that instantly. And you can actually have hyper realistic ones. So stock footage will be a thing of the past because this is all original content. But the coolest one that I've seen so far is Merlin, which attaches to your browser, will read your emails, and it will prompt your response. So whenever you get stuck at writing an email, it's a thing of the past now.
All right, that fills me with dread. I love the idea of not having to respond to emails, but it just fills me with dread. What about you at home? I mean, where are we going with this? Are you scared? Hamish McLaughlin Lester isn't, but thank you very much for joining me on Bernardi tonight. Really appreciate it.